Tonight, breaking news, the major Supreme Court ruling strengthening the president's hand involving birthright citizenship. The severe storms as we come on the air, hundreds of flights canceled in the Northeast, and the suspected shark bite at a popular New York beach. First, the U.S. Supreme Court in a 6-3 decision along ideological lines, allowing President Trump to move forward with his plans to change birthright citizenship, ruling that federal judges cannot put nationwide blocks on his executive orders. The president calling it a giant win, and what it means for the rest of his sweeping agenda. And the High Court's other major rulings tonight on parents' rights, Obamacare, and more. The severe weather watch tonight, storms heading east, flash flooding in West Virginia. Officials say 5 inches of rain in less than an hour. The massive highway backup, where the temperatures are surging again tonight. And how a 76-year-old Florida woman survived after her home was lifted, then slammed back down by a tornado. Lee Goldberg with the forecast. A possible shark bite at a popular New York beach. A woman standing in waist-high water, the lacerations on her leg and foot. This video showing a different baby shark on the same beach the same day. Breaking news, one of the last fugitives who broke out of a New Orleans jail more than 6 weeks ago, captured late today. What we've just learned. The defense delivering its closing argument in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs, saying the case is not about sex trafficking or racketeering, but a great modern love story and a music mogul's swinger lifestyle. The president of the University of Virginia resigning today under pressure amid an investigation by the Trump administration into the school's DEI efforts. The mystery solved, what we've learned about that fireball streaking across several southern states. And America Strong tonight, the Jeopardy contestant and the game-winning clue that fans are calling the most amazing coincidence in the history of Jeopardy.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us on this Friday night. I'm Whit Johnson in for David. And we begin with that major ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court, strengthening President Trump's authority in a decision involving birthright citizenship. The 6-3 decision along ideological lines, ruling that federal judges cannot put nationwide blocks on a president's executive orders. Justice Amy Coney Barrett writing for the majority that federal courts do not exercise general oversight of the executive branch. Justice Sonia Sotomayor writing for the justices in dissent that the president's bid to end birthright citizenship makes a solemn mockery of our Constitution. President Trump calling it a big win, making a rare appearance in the White House briefing room today, saying he'll now move forward with his plans to limit birthright citizenship. The Supreme Court ruling may also allow the president to charge ahead on other parts of his agenda. ABC's senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer leads us off at the Supreme Court.
Tonight, the Supreme Court's conservative majority dramatically limiting the ability of federal judges to check presidential power. The 6-3 decision allows President Trump to move forward with plans to end birthright citizenship, which has been law of the land for more than 100 years.
This morning, the Supreme Court has delivered a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law.
Federal judges in 3 states had ruled Trump's order on birthright citizenship blatantly violates the Constitution and Supreme Court precedent, issuing nationwide injunctions blocking the order from taking effect. But today, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, writing for the majority, said those sweeping injunctions went too far and that federal courts do not exercise general oversight of the executive branch. They resolve cases and controversies.
I want to thank Justice Barrett, who wrote the opinion brilliantly, as well as Chief Justice Roberts, and Justices Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Thomas. Great people.
In a biting dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor said the liberal justices would not join so grave an attack on our system of law, saying Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship makes a solemn mockery of our Constitution. The court's decision took no position on whether Trump's executive order is constitutional, though the ruling does let him put it into effect in 30 days. But at the White House today, no explanation of how that would work. Attorney General Pam Bondi deflecting when pressed on how exactly citizenship for newborns across America would be determined.
Who would be tasked with actually vetting citizenship? And how, would this be a situation where you have nurses and doctors checking for citizenship of parents, or?
This is all pending litigation. It's going to be decided in October. by the Supreme Court, and we'll discuss that after the litigation.
But there is currently no litigation before the Supreme Court in October involving birthright citizenship. Still, opponents of Trump's order are vowing to get the issue back before the justices as soon as possible.
With the impact of today's decision could be far-reaching. Dozens of federal judges have issued nationwide injunctions against some of President Trump's controversial policies, from layoffs of federal workers to federal funding freezes of foreign aid. Some of those injunctions may now need to be rolled back or lifted entirely. Whit?
And Devin, the Supreme Court also issuing several other major rulings today.
It sure did. The Supreme Court upheld those popular Obamacare no-cost preventive health care services. The justices also said that parents have a right to remove their children from classrooms when LGBTQ books that violate their religious beliefs are used. And the court, Whit, upheld online age verification for adult websites in an effort to protect children. Whit?
All right, Devin Dwyer with that major news from the Supreme Court. We appreciate it. Thank you. We move now to the dangerous weather threat as we come on tonight. Powerful thunderstorms and more than 8,000 flights already canceled or delayed nationwide. Severe weather on the way for parts of the upper Midwest and along the I-95 corridor, including D.C., New York, and New England. And those scorching temperatures rising again in the Northeast. Lee Goldberg with the forecast in just a moment. But first, here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, severe storms battering much of the heartland for a second straight day. More than 750 flights delayed at Chicago airports, dozens more canceled. That system prompting a traffic nightmare overnight on the West Virginia Turnpike. South of Charleston, part of the road closed due to high water. Local officials say they got 5 inches of rain in just 45 minutes. Alex Wilkinson telling us she and her sister Samantha were stuck for 8 hours.
When you're stuck, you just make the best of it.
And tonight, we're hearing the harrowing story of Deborah Mettler.
I had been in what was a family room and stepped out, which was good because it's no longer there at all.
An EF1 twister with 90-mile-per-hour winds lifting her Largo, Florida home off the ground, suspending it midair for 15 seconds Wednesday evening while she was inside. Telling our Tampa affiliate WFTS,
I didn't realize I was actually up in the air. I was too busy doing somersaults and getting thrashed.
And Whit, here in the Northeast, after that extreme heat wave earlier this week, the temperatures are rising again. It will feel like mid-90s tomorrow with a chance of thunderstorms. Whit.
Stephanie Ramos, thanks. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg with our New York station WABC. And Lee, you're tracking some dangerous storms hitting right now.
Yeah, Whit, that's happening as the heat is moving from the Midwest into the Northeast. Here in the Northeast, our trip back in time to May is coming to an end. We'll warm up over the weekend, but some big storms right now working north of Detroit, just south of Pittsburgh. There's some flood issues from Pittsburgh to Roanoke this evening. A new tornado watch on the western side of that hot high in North Dakota. A severe thunderstorm watch in parts of Nebraska. Now, even though it's comfortable in the Northeast, we have all this heat from Memphis all the way up into the Ohio Valley. See how cool it is in the Northeast? That's going to change big time over the weekend. As that happens, we have storms from New York City, D.C., up to Albany, especially in the late day and evening could be gusty. Another severe threat near Minneapolis, back to Sioux Falls. Now, in terms of the big holiday week of the 4th of July, you know what? No major heat wave, but the heat is from the northern Rockies into the east, cool in the southwest because of the monsoon. Whit?
All right, we'll be tracking it. Lee Goldberg, thank you. A woman is recovering tonight from a suspected shark bite at a popular beach on New York's Long Island. She was standing in waist-high water, getting lacerations on her leg and foot. That bite, one of several incidents already this season. Here's ABC's Faith Abubey.
Tonight, officials say a sand tiger shark most likely bit a woman in New York's popular Jones Beach on Long Island. The 20-year-old was waist deep in the water at the Central Mall beachfront after 4 p.m. on Wednesday, when authorities say she sustained minor lacerations to her left foot and leg.
Nope, that's a shark.
This baby shark spotted at Jones Beach that same morning, but not the one believed to have bitten the woman. It's the first suspected shark bite in the New York City area since 2023, when a swimmer was seriously injured at Rockaway Beach. Sand tiger sharks can grow up to 10 feet long and 350 pounds. The sharks, known to frequent the waters around Long Island in the summer, but are not aggressive towards humans unless they're threatened.
Something hard bit me, and then
and tried to take me away.
Just 2 weeks ago, a shark nearly biting off 9-year-old Leah Lendo's hand as she snorkeled off Florida's Gulf Coast. X-rays showing the damage. Doctors using blood vessels from her leg to restore blood flow to her hand.
And when New York officials say they suspended swimming shortly after that incident and used drones on the beachfront to search for dangerous marine life, but found no threats, the beach has since reopened back to the public. Whit.
Faith Abubey, thank you. And breaking news we're following tonight, a 9th inmate who escaped from a New Orleans jail has now been caught. Let's get right to Eva Pilgrim. And Eva, what more are you learning?
Well, that breaking news just coming in. Authorities saying they have captured Antoine Massey after 6 weeks on the run. This is the moment Massey and 9 other inmates escaped on May 16th, seen running out of the New Orleans jail. Their disappearance was not noticed for several hours. 33-year-old Massey was found today at a home in New Orleans. He was in jail for domestic abuse battery involving strangulation as well as theft of a motor vehicle. Videos had surfaced on social media earlier this month appearing to be Massey. That led to a failed raid. There's still one more inmate, a convicted murderer, on the run tonight, but a major break so far in this case. Whit.
Sure is. Eva Pilgrim, thank you. Now to the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Today, the defense delivering its closing argument, mocking the evidence, calling the prosecution's case overzealous. Jury deliberations expected to begin on Monday. Here's ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky.
For more than 4 hours, the defense tried to persuade the jury the trial of Sean Combs has nothing to do with sex trafficking, racketeering, or prostitution, but is a great modern love story, arguing star witness Cassie Ventura was no trafficking victim, but a woman who actually likes sex and willingly took part in sexual marathons with male escorts. This was her lifestyle choice, too, the defense said. She's not clutching her pearls. The defense mocked the government's case, referencing the searches of Combs's Miami and Los Angeles homes that turned up baby oil, lubricant, drugs, high heels, and guns. They found the baby oil. They found the Astroglide, the defense said in a sarcastic tone. The only crime scene is your private sex life. The defense argued Combs was no racketeering kingpin, casting doubt on the alleged crimes of arson, drug possession, and bribery. This is his personal life. It's not about an enterprise. The defense asking jurors to summon the courage to acquit Sean Combs. He sits there innocent. Return him to his family. But prosecutors pushed back, telling jurors in their rebuttal not to let Combs blame victims and the government for his lies, his threats, and his violence. Jurors went home for the weekend. They'll be back here on Monday for the judge's instructions and to begin deliberating the charges that could send Sean Combs to prison for life.
Aaron Katursky, thank you. Next tonight, a university president has resigned under pressure from the Trump administration. University of Virginia President James Ryan stepping down today over the school's efforts on DEI policies. Here's ABC's senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott.
After months of pressure from the Trump administration over diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, tonight the president of the University of Virginia announcing he will resign rather than battle the federal government. James Ryan writing, "I'm inclined to fight for what I believe in, and I believe deeply in this university, but I cannot make a unilateral decision to fight the federal government in order to save my own job." The Trump administration has launched a series of investigations into universities, including a probe at UVA over its DEI efforts. Sources tell ABC News the Justice Department demanded Ryan step down as a condition to settle that ongoing investigation. Protests on campus today in support of Ryan. Virginia's Democratic senators outraged.
The fact that the federal government would get in and decide that it should micromanage who the president of UVA is just frankly shocking.
This is the latest flashpoint in the Trump administration's showdown with universities, cutting more than $2 billion in grants to Harvard after it refused to comply with the president's demands. Tonight, Ryan acknowledging the pressure from the federal government, saying he did not want to put funding or jobs at risk.
Tonight in a statement, the White House says DEI has no place in our country, saying that any university president that fails to comply will be met with the full force of the federal government.
Rachel Scott, our thanks to you tonight. The so-called Big Beautiful Bill is hitting a big roadblock now. The bill includes a package of tax cuts, military and border security spending. Senate Republicans are now forced to rewrite key sections after they were tossed out by the Senate's nonpartisan rule keeper. President Trump has given the bill a self-imposed July 4th deadline to pass. To Wall Street and stocks surging today. The S&P and NASDAQ composite each up more than half a percentage point, hitting record highs. The Dow up 1 percentage point. A roller coaster day for investors, with numbers taking a dip after the president announced halting trade talks with Canada, then rising again to a strong close. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Friday. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos tying the knot, the A-list guest list, and the stunning amount of money being dropped around Venice. Plus, the mystery appears to be solved, that huge fireball lighting up the sky and loud booms. NASA now weighing in about what caused it. Next tonight, the mystery appears to be solved about that fireball seen across the southeast. NASA now confirming it was a meteor weighing a ton, first spotted nearly 50 miles over Georgia when it disintegrated. The meteor unleashed energy equal to 20 tons of TNT, causing loud booms heard for miles. Small pieces believed to be debris falling to the earth. Only some minor damage reported, but no injuries. When we come back, a passing to note, an actor from a popular TV show in the 80s. To the index now, a man accused of kicking a Customs and Border Patrol dog at the airport has been kicked out of the country. Investigators say the dog, Freddie, was kicked while inspecting a bag for contraband at Dulles Airport. CBP saying that man's luggage had more than 100 pounds of prohibited meat and produce. The man from Egypt was arrested, fined, and sent home. Freddie suffered contusions to his rib area, but will make a full recovery. Wedding bells for Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez. Vogue releasing a digital cover of Sánchez in her dress immediately after they got married. A star-studded guest list, including Oprah Winfrey and Kim Kardashian. Despite some protests, the Venice deputy vice mayor telling us the nuptials could bring up to $35 million to the region. And we have a passing to note tonight. Actor Rick Hurst rose to stardom playing Deputy Cletus Hogg on the Dukes of Hazzard. He started acting at the age of 5, and once in a radio interview, he said he did 146 national commercials in just 2 years. Hurst was 79. Still ahead, the incredible contestant coincidence during Final Jeopardy. It's never happened before. Finally tonight, Final Jeopardy and the contestant coincidence.
This is Jeopardy!
41 seasons of Jeopardy! But what you're about to see has never happened before. What fans are now calling the most amazing coincidence in the history of Jeopardy.
From Denver, Colorado, Emily Crow.
Right away, Emily on a hot streak.
Emily.
What is Arizona?
Right.
What is the Hunger Games?
Right.
What is Aquamarine?
That's right.
And she kept going.
Who is Eliza Schuyler?
That's right.
What is Sons of Liberty?
Correct.
Who is Tennyson?
Yes.
Emily way ahead, leading into Final Jeopardy. And then
let's take a look at the clue.
The final clue.
In 1896, the Vassar-educated wife of this man wrote, "Thousands of dollars may be paid for a copy of Shakespeare."
The contestants' guesses.
It's not Smith, I'm afraid, and it's not a Rockefeller either.
And then it was Emily's turn.
Who is Folger? And that's correct. You're a Jeopardy champion, Emily.
Emily with the win. And as the credits were rolling, you see Emily and host Ken Jennings talking. Ken looking surprised. That's because of what Emily had just revealed. She is a distant relative of the correct answer. In fact, she's named after the wife mentioned in the clue, Emily Folger. Tonight, Jeopardy sharing what happened behind the scenes.
Say that again, Emily.
That was my great-great-great-aunt Emily.
Emily Folger, the one we mentioned in the clue,
yes,
is the person you, Emily Croak, are named after.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
And joining us tonight, Emily on the moment.
Nothing could have prepared me for the moment of seeing a Final Jeopardy clue about my family. It was the most out-of-body experience of my life.
Emily sharing these family photos with us. Emily with her mother, Emily Folger's great-great-niece, and Emily's grandmother, also named Emily. Tonight, Emily and her message.
Needless to say, I am still processing the weirdest coincidence of my life. Thank you to Jeopardy, the Jeopardy community, and everyone out there who loves learning and exploring the world around us.
Oh, we just love that moment. I'm Whit Johnson in New York. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.